Hello, how are you? I'm Katie Gates, and thank you so much for being here. I wanted to share my journal entry with you today. I don't normally do this, but I thought this would be great, not just for myself, but for you too. I titled it Your Life the Right Way. Your Life the Right Way. And I titled it that way because we have a life, and it's our responsibility to live it the right way or a just way. And when we do that, great things start to come to us. Your life the right way. So if I had to define my life, 4, 5, 6 years ago, it would contain words like hurting, confused, and emotional. If I had to define my life 5, 6, even 7 years ago, it would contain the words like hurting, confused, and emotional, just all over the place, not together, confused up here, doing so many things and nothing coming together. That's how it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. But today, I define my life as healed, clear, balanced, and purposed because there's a purpose. We were created on purpose, with purpose, for a definite purpose, right? So if I had to define my life today, I would define it as healed, a healed life, a clear life, a balanced life, and a purposed life. If that's how I had to define my life today. So, how did I get to that place of balance and healing and clarity and purpose? How did I get there? Well, I can tell you something. It was not an easy process, but it was a doable process. So, how did I get there? I got there by doing three things, or by understanding three things. I had to understand that life, my own life, belongs to me, right? And my ability to live life should be in a just and proper manner. In other words, upright and good. I had to choose my own life and understand that it was my responsibility to choose to live just and upright in a good manner. Number two, I also had to understand that I was the only one responsible for my happiness, well-being, and my sanity. I'm going to say that again. I had to understand that I was the only one responsible for my happiness, well-being, and my sanity. Listen to me. If you hear nothing at all in this video, listen to this. When you take responsibility for your own sanity, there is nothing or no one that can stop you. There is nothing or no one that can influence you in a negative manner when you take responsibility for your own sanity. That's something I had to do. No one else could give those things to me. I had to understand that. Many people here on earth, but no one could give those things to me. Define them? Yes. People can define them all day. We have dictionaries for days. We have Google dictionary for days. So people can define them all day. Grant them to me? No. They can't do that. They didn't have the ability to do that. So I had to come to the understanding, or get clarity to understand that I was responsible for my own happiness and my own well-being and my own sanity. When we can take responsibility for those things, we'll see growth and opportunities in ways that we did not see them before. And lastly, I had to understand that seeking others for clarity, truth, and approval would lead to my demise. It's very easy to seek others, to look around at others, your circle or your friends or whomever, and seek clarity, truth, and approval from them without realizing that they too may be going through the same fire. They too may be battling the same war that you're battling. So I had to understand that seeking others for clarity, truth, and approval would lead to my demise. Think about it. Think about this. How was I seeking others, battling the same war with hopes of healing? How does that work? How was I seeking people, trying to defeat The very same thing that was trying to beat me while hoping to receive clarity. How does that work? It doesn't. It does not work. No matter how much we spin the piece of the puzzle and try to fit it in the space that is not meant for it, it does not work. And I had to come to that conclusion. Yes, the situations may have been similar, because we all have very close situations. We can look at one another and say, you know, I'm going through that, or my situation is familiar to your situation. But when they're still losing the war, when we're both losing the war, how on earth are we going to help one another? I had to understand that, just like you may have had to understand that, or will have to understand that, right? So I did realize one thing in my journey of healing, right? There's a sinister mishap that creeps in the way of victory every time healing is on the front line. Do you know what that sinister mishap is? Most people don't. Most people don't catch it. The mishap is connecting yourself to people out of the war with wounds they haven't healed. That's the mishap. That's the sinister mishap that creeps in when victory, or in the way, shall I say, of victory, every time healing is on the front line. Connecting yourself to people out of the war with wounds they have yet healed. And technically, they're now in a war battling scars. So we think we're connecting to healed people when in reality, most of the time, they're still in the war. They're still fighting the battle. They have not yet healed those wounds that are deep within them. So if they haven't healed their wounds, how on earth are they going to help you heal yours? It makes sense. It's just like the blind can't lead the blind. Hurting people hurt people. Those age-old adages aren't in this earth by mere existence. They're here for a reason. They have great meaning behind them. So if they have yet to heal their wounds, how on earth was I going to look to them to help me heal mine? It just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work. And I say that because, like I said before, hurting people hurt people. And for the most part, they hurt people unintentionally. So they're not trying to hurt you. It's their wounds and their scars and, the deep emotions that have yet to be healed that are hurting you, not the person themselves. So yet they still hurt people. Even if it's done unintentionally, hurting people still hurt people. And seeking healing from unhealed vessels, catch this, is like jumping off a cliff with hopes of landing on your feet. It's not going to happen. It just doesn't work. Not only does it not work, it's dangerous. And I know you're saying, oh, that's a bit far out. You're stretching that a bit. I'm not. It's dangerous. And I'm going to tell you how it's dangerous. It's dangerous because doing that does not help you live life the right way. It helps you get closer to your demise. That's why it's dangerous. It brings forth confusion instead of the clarity that you were seeking or looking for or yearning for. Now you have more confusion on top of confusion on top of confusion, and you're confused even more. So now your way out, finding your way out, is far more difficult than it was before. That's why it's dangerous. And instead of climbing out of the deep, dark hole, you're sinking further in. Things like depression and suicidal thoughts and all of those things, anxieties, then come upon us even more than they were before, because instead of climbing out of the deep, dark hole, you're now sinking further within. And that's why it's so dangerous. And that's nothing to take lightly. So there's nothing to say that I'm stretching. It's something to take very seriously, right? Because that's how life can be if it's not lived the right way. So like many of you, because I know I'm not the only one that has went through this process. So like many of you, I had to connect to the ultimate source. And many people don't want to hear this because it seems as though as the times go on, we move further and further and further away from God. And yet he's the source of our healing. He's the one that we need. He's the one that's going to connect us to the gifts called people, the right people, to help us heal, to help us get out of that deep, dark hole. Yet many move as far away from the idea of God as possible. Then they find themselves in a deep, darker hole trying to climb out. But like many of you, I had to connect to the ultimate source, which is God. We all know that. And I had to allow him to connect me to sources he deems suitable for me. Not me trying to connect myself to sources, and I have done that. Got myself in a whole lot of trouble, brought on a whole lot of pain, cried myself to sleep at night, pillow just soaked with tears. So I have done that. Like many other people, I too have done that. Trying to connect my source with people whom God did not deem suitable for me. That's another reason why it can be dangerous. We hook up with the wrong people, find ourselves yet again in that deep, darker hole. So I had to allow him to connect me to sources that he deemed suitable for me. And that's when I learned to live my life the right way. Now, don't get me wrong. I had the foundation growing up as a girl. I went to church, I watched my mother. So I had the foundation, but as we know, life comes in and throws a lot of punches, leaves us with many bruises, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, unresolved pain. And then we turn internally, instead of expressing it and getting it out, we let it stay in, and it kills us on a daily. So I had the resources growing up as a child, but I did not fully learn to live my life the right way until God came in and connected me with suitable sources meant for me. And sometimes those sources don't always come in the form of people. Let's get clear about that. They can come in many forms, many sources. But when we are connected to the source, we'll understand the sources when he sends them to us. There's no confusion there when we're connected to the source, right? We'll understand those sources, those gifts that he's brought into our lives to help pull us out of the things that we once prayed for, even if it was years ago, because his timing is the perfect timing. He doesn't make mistakes. So something that I say all the time, and I you'll probably hear me say this many more times if you continue watching me. Surround yourself with great people and you too will be great. Because 9 times out of 10, your circle, especially if you're not the leader, your circle becomes the way you live your life. So if you connect yourself and surround yourself with negative people who are not living a good and just life, I don't care if they're family members, friends, coworkers, whomever. If you connect yourself to people who are not living a good and just life, you are going to be just as they are. You're going to take on their character traits. You're going to start acting just as they do. And if they're acting in a negative way, detrimental to a good life, guess what? You're going to start behaving that way because you become what you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with true greatness, you too will be great. And likely the same thing applies. If you connect yourself to good and upright people, you too shall be good, do good, and live upright. It's contagious, right? It's like a virus. It can't help but connect itself to good energy, to a good person. So if you surround yourself, connect yourself to good and upright people, you will be good and upright. Because good energy connects to good energy. So if I can tell you anything, if I can leave you with anything, I will tell you that sometimes the gift destined to help us may not look like us. It may not look like what we want it to look like. Sometimes we have this image in our minds of what we want, our friends to look like, or what we want life to look like, or what we want someone giving us help or therapy to look like. We have this image painted in our heads, and sometimes that image has got to be obscured a bit. We got to get out of the mentality of my help is supposed to look like this, or my help is supposed to come in the form of this. No. That's not always true. So we have to open our minds and open our hearts to the gifts that God sends us to help pull us out of the deep, dark, black hole, right? So the gifts may not always look like you or me or whomever. They may not always be in our circle, which sometimes is the best thing that could ever happen. The help that God sends you, the gift, may not be in your circle. That's why I said prior, if you are connected to the source, you'll know the gift that He has sent to you to help pull you out of that deep, dark, black hole. And even if you're not down in a deep, dark, black hole, but you're kind of spiraling out of control, your mind is all haywire in chaos. If you're connected to the source in some form, you will know the source that He sends you to help you. And lastly, instead of critiquing the gift or the source of help, open it, right? Open up to it, listen to it, and learn from it. Because the gift may not come back around. And if it does come back around, it may not come back around as quickly as you want it to. So be good to you while you have it. Don't crucify a good thing. Don't crucify a good thing. So remember that. Remember that. Doing so, when you remember and really open up to the idea that your source of help may not look like you, or may not be, the person or the thing that you want it to be, when you do so, you'll understand how to live your life, not somebody else's life, not the way someone else wants you to live. You'll understand how to live your life the right way. Because in the end, we are responsible for our own lives, our own happiness, and our own sanity. We are, no one else. We are responsible. So that was one of the many reasons why I wanted to share my journal entry with you all today. And I wrote a whole lot, probably too much. And I just thought it would be good, not just for me, but for you and for other people that you're connected to and whom they may connect with. So your life the right way was my journal entry for today. Your life the right way. I'm Katie Gates, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope and pray that this video has helped you as much as it did me. Thank you yet again. Remember to, if you're watching this on YouTube, Remember to hit the subscribe button somewhere over here, and also hit the notification bell somewhere down here, I believe. And if you're watching this on Facebook, like the channel, support the channel, share it. I'm Katie Gates. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye.